What if the Montreal Canadiens, under the meticulous stewardship of General Manager Ken Hughes, executed a trade that was less about immediate gratification and more about methodical, long-term restructuring of their roster, only to face a media-driven narrative of failure that preys on fan panic? That's the situation unfolding now as the press, specifically the Montreal Gazette, with its provocative question, did the GM miss the mark? Attempt to paint Hughes' recent swap of defenseman Logan Mailloux to the St. Louis Blues for forward Zachary Bolduc as a misstep. The media's focus on short-term results ignores the corporate intelligence embedded in the deal, prioritizing clicks over context. Let's dismantle this fabricated crisis with surgical rigor and refocus on the strategic intent behind the transaction, while addressing the real concern of Bolduc's current goal drought under the intense scrutiny of the Montreal market. Let's slice the reality of this trade with precision, pitting the media's illusion against the hard truth of the negotiation table. When Hughes engineered this deal, he wasn't chasing a 6-month fruit harvest. He was planting seeds for a sustained harvest years down the line. The Canadiens' forward group lacked high-end potential with lethal shooting ability, a specialty of Bolduc, a 2021 first-round pick whose offensive ceiling as a top-6 winger remains tantalizing despite recent struggles. Conversely, the blue line was congested with prospects like Lane Hutson and David Reinbacher, making Logan Mailloux a right-shot defenseman with offensive pedigree, but defensive question marks. An expendable asset, Mailloux, with his physical tools and scoring upside, was a perfect trade chip to seduce a GM like Doug Armstrong of the Blues, who is desperate for blue line dynamism to bolster a faltering St. Louis roster. This wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to immediate needs. It was a calculated reallocation of resources to balance the Canadiens' prospect pipeline. The Gazette's insinuation of incompetence, suggesting Hughes missed the mark because Bolduc has hit a goal-scoring drought this winter, while Mailloux is struggling with a poor plus-minus in St. Louis, is a cheap attempt to capitalize on fan anxiety. Trades involving high-ceiling prospect for a high-ceiling prospect take a minimum of 3 to 4 years to declare a definitive winner. Bolduc, at 22, is still adapting to the NHL's pace and the pressure of a hockey-mad market like Montreal, where every missed shot is magnified. Mailloux, also 22, is grappling with defensive lapses in St. Louis, reflected in his negative goal differential, but his offensive tools could still blossom with time. Judging this trade on a snapshot of mid-season performance is not just premature, it's intellectually dishonest. Hughes operates on a timeline of contention that peaks in 2027 to 28, when his young core and prospect farm fully mature. This deal was about positioning assets for that window, not winning a popularity contest in the press box today. From a tactical perspective, Bolduc's potential fit in Montreal's top 6 is undeniable. A winger with a quick release and knack for finding soft spots in coverage, he could complement playmakers like Nick Suzuki or Kirby Dach, health permitting, in the coming years. His current goal drought, let's say hypothetically, 2 goals in 20 games since the trade, raises eyebrows, but slumps are common for young players adjusting to new systems and expectations. Mailloux, meanwhile, offered offensive flair from the blue line, but overlapped with Reinbacher's skill set, and his defensive shortcomings made him a risk in St. Louis' high-pressure environment. Hughes didn't trade for instant production. He traded for a skill set the roster lacked, betting on Bolduc's upside while offloading a redundant piece in a position of depth. The media's rush to judgment ignores this calculus, focusing on box scores over blueprint. Financially, the trade is a wash in the short term, as both players are on entry-level contracts, YLCs, with minimal cap hits. Bolduc at $863,333 through 2025 and Mailloux at $875,000 through 2025 before the trade. This preserves Montreal's projected $8 million plus in cap space for summer moves, allowing Hughes to address immediate needs via free agency or trades without the burden of inflated salaries. The real cost is opportunity. Did Hughes miss a chance to extract more value from Mailloux from a desperate Blues team? Or did he overvalue Bolduc's potential, given his current struggles? Only time will tell, but the notion of a missed mark is a narrative built on sand, not stone. Culturally, the pressure of the Montreal market cannot be understated, especially for a young player like Bolduc. The Bell Center faithful and the relentless media scrutiny can crush confidence if a player's production dips, as we've seen with past prospects like Alex Galchenyuk, whose early promise faded under the spotlight. Hughes and coach Martin St. Louis must shield Bolduc from this weight, fostering an environment where development trumps immediate results. Historically, the Canadiens have succeeded when balancing patience with accountability. Think of Guy Lafleur's slow start before becoming a legend. The media's current panic-mongering risks derailing Bolduc's growth with premature criticism, a trap Hughes seems determined to avoid. Looking to the future, the implications of this trade hinge on Bolduc's trajectory. If his goal drought is a temporary blip, and he evolves into a 25 to 30 goal scorer in the top 6 by 2027, Hughes will be hailed as a visionary for acquiring a skill set the roster desperately needed. If Mailloux becomes a top 4 defenseman in St. Louis, the narrative may shift to regret, though Montreal's defensive depth mitigates that sting. The immediate concern is Bolduc's confidence under Montreal's microscope. Left unchecked, it could stall his development, turning a calculated gamble into a cautionary tale. Hughes must balance nurturing Bolduc with addressing any underlying performance issues, ensuring trade's long-term vision isn't undermined by short-term struggles. So, I'm handing the clipboard to you, Commander. Given that Zachary Bolduc's goal drought is a real confidence issue and the Montreal media's pressure could crush the young forward, how do you dictate the protocol in our war room? Would you have me compile a dossier on Bolduc's peripheral statistics, shot quality, ice time, power play minutes, to determine if this lack of goals is pure mathematical bad luck or a genuine drop in performance, guiding how ST, Lewis, and Hughes should manage his development? Or do you prefer I audit the real market for a right-shot defenseman, identify who Hughes might target in summer free agency to bolster the blue line, ensuring the loss of Mailloux doesn't leave a long-term gap? This isn't just about a trade. It's about protecting potential and planning for contention. Drop your directive in the comments, and let's debate the best way to steer the Canadiens through this media storm and beyond. The Bell Center demands clarity, and with the summer market and Bolduc's growth on the line, every decision shapes the future.